This series is about the future of fashion. It's about hope and solutions. Fashion is more than just clothing, accessories, or hairstyles. It's more than the cute, chunky sneakers and the mom jeans that come in and out of style. At its best, it's a profound and beautiful expression of time, culture, ideas, and beliefs. At its worst, it's just another commodity that's made, sold, and thrown out. We've reached a tipping point in the world and in fashion, and now is the time for action. I'm one voice in a generation full of designers, activists, and thinkers who don't just care about the problems we face, but we work to solve them. We are Generation F.
My heart is beating like a jungle drum. I reach out and go and chase the sun. Floating like a bird up in the sky. Watching all the colors come alive.
My name is Leah Thomas, and I'm an environmental activist building a platform examining environmentalism through a more inclusive lens that advocates for people and the planet. Catastrophic climate change is coming. Social justice issues are worse than ever. COVID-19 is also a catalyst for the world to change. Generation F has no choice but to act. Their ideas and passions are crucial for securing our future and saving the planet. Over the course of this series, we'll give you an inside look at the future of fashion through the future of sustainable materials, technologies, emerging business models, and our ever-changing relationships with what we wear.
We demand change.
A circular economy within the fashion industry.
No unnecessary output.
Basic human rights for every child.
Representation.
Our future.
Sustainability has become a buzzword. Everyone in fashion is talking about it, which is probably a good thing because the movement is growing. The problem is, sustainable fashion is growing way slower than our consumption habits. So while solutions like regenerative fabrics and creating a circular economy are essential, none of them will be enough if we don't simply buy less stuff. And if you just went, what the hell is regenerative or circular? Don't worry, I'm with you. We'll be diving into those later in this series. In the past, people talked about protecting the environment for their children, for future generations, but now it's not the same future threat. Lots of young people are already experiencing the impacts of climate change and pollution firsthand. Generation F understands that if there isn't some serious change, and now, we could all face irreversible consequences.
My name is Kevin J. Patel. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Los Angeles, California, specifically South Central. I'm a climate justice activist, have been one for 8 years. I never knew that my life can change in a matter of minutes, and it did. I was affected with heart palpitations and irregular heartbeat, which was caused by air pollution and smog pollution. And I knew that because my other community members were being affected by asthma, by cancer. And just taking a look and doing my own research, I saw that not only is Los Angeles being affected by air and smog pollution, but it's being affected by the fossil fuel industry, where we have oil wells literally next to communities where kids are playing soccer.
Individual actions matter, but the biggest change comes when industries adjust the way they do business and government enacts laws. In order for government to truly represent the people, we need to make our voices heard. Engage with corporations and government. You don't have to be partisan to support legislation, and you can work together with corporations or protest them to demand change. That's what Kevin is doing, making sure his generation is in the rooms where decisions that affect their futures are being made.
One thing that I have done is created the Youth Climate Commission. It gives young people real legislative power and a seat at the table, so that we're not only doing systematic action, strikes, rallies, marches, you name it, but we're actually inside our system and having a voice and really being vocal on the policies that our local government and our federal government and our state government is actually implementing.
Kevin worked with the city of LA to create the Youth Climate Commission, a 25-member commission of 15 to 22-year-olds with 5 seats granted to each district to help develop the city's climate action.
The fashion industry and the fossil fuel industry are intertwined and intersectional. A lot of fabrics come from fossil fuels.
Believe it or not, fashion uses a lot of petroleum. It's in nearly everything, from the dyes that give our clothes color to chemical pesticides. In fact, petroleum is the basis for many synthetic fabrics, like polyester and nylon and elastane. You know, like in those stretchy jeans that you love so much. Synthetics overtook cotton as the most used fiber in the 1990s and have been growing ever since, making up 62% of global fiber production today. Polyester is the most used fiber, representing just over 50% of global fiber production. As it currently stands, much of the fashion industry relies on complex systems that support the use of petroleum in our clothes. But as Generation F knows, not only are we running out of it, but petroleum is one of the largest contributors to our current climate crisis.
The future I want is a regenerative one, where my people, my community are able to live. When people ask me what my generation is, I always say that we're fighters, that we're advocates, that we're change makers, that we're leaders of today, not tomorrow.
The realities we face in a world impacted by the climate crisis could not be more clear to the minds of Kevin's generation. And the relationship between the way we consume fashion and how this behavior impacts our planet is abundantly clear. Something needs to change. This necessary change comes when we address issues head on. And it's not just about what our favorite t-shirts and sweaters are made of, it's how they're being made.
My name is Nasreen Sheikh, and I am a formerly undocumented child slave labor. When I was in America and when I walked into malls, I cried so hard because I didn't see products. I saw tears, I saw suffering, and literally I saw my own experience being locked down into this tiny 10 by 10 room. I want you to imagine I'm your child and I'm stuck in a sweatshop where I'm forced to work from morning 4 a.m. to midnight. And I'm making clothes like a machine, not as a human. I don't have clean drinking water to drink. I can't even breathe because there's no window. I can't even sleep because there is no bed. And if I feel so tired and so out of it, they put me on the pile of clothes that I make. What would you do? How would you respond? Please take action in a way that your children is abducted and are in very severe conditions. They don't have voice. I can't reach out to you. You have to reach out to me.
Many of the people working in fashion do not have access to basic human rights. We need to know who made our clothes and ensure that they're treated well. Today, according to the World Bank, over 700 million people live in extreme poverty. The truth is, very few companies actually know where their products are made. It's likely that your purchases are inadvertently supporting slavery. The fashion supply chain funnels more money towards modern slavery than any other industry besides tech. Nasreen was only a child when she was forced to work in sweatshops. Being one of the few to escape the system, she was able to seek an education and become an entrepreneur. She founded a fair trade women's collective called Local Women's Handicrafts in Kathmandu.
We use 100 years old loom and sustainable tools. It's so much focused on working with natural, recycled, and local materials. Local Women's Handicrafts have been fighting fast fashion for the last 12 years, and I could not tell you how hard and slow this process has been. I want people to take a moment and look closely at garments, examine the beauty of each stitch, feel the face behind that products. When I'm working with someone and I give her a chance and opportunities to come and make something in a more creative way and more energetic way. It's like ripples out of her all creativities. And I see many of our women were not able to change her life, but she's able to change her whole family life, and she's getting rid of all of the ancestral trauma that she carries, and then she turns that into a power and she helps more people around her. And that's the part that I see as a cycle of like positivity. It's like that's the impact that I see in my work.
Nasreen is a living example of the change that needs to happen in the fashion industry. Imagine all the women in her town, then all the women in all the factories everywhere. Imagine them getting fair wages, clean, safe working conditions. Respect, dignity, power. What does cultural diversity have to do with sustainability? In order to solve the environmental crisis, everyone around the world is going to have to work together. Every group and identity must bring their experience, strength, and hope to the table. More diversity and problem solving means more creativity and innovation, which means better solutions. Diversity is also good for business. Data shows that companies that embrace diversity actually perform better financially.
Hi, my name is Papa Opong. I am a Ghanaian, 20 years old, and currently an MFA student at FIT in New York City. I want my clothes to always be a conversation starters. I see the world being very colorful with so many different people. When I say colorful, I mean in skin, in language and culture and identity. At the end of the day, my entire work should celebrate the Ghanaian woman. I feel like she doesn't have enough people telling her stories. She doesn't have enough people elevating her. Looking at people that I love and I've grown up loving, like my mother, my grandmother, my aunties, how can I make the world see these women through my eyes and not through this lens of savagery and, not dressing Western enough? My message for the president of a fashion brand is hire a more diverse pool of people. There is no way you can make decisions based on a select number of people and then call yourself a global brand.
Papa approaches fashion design as a way to tell meaningful stories about his culture, start conversations, and broaden perspectives.
Heritage matters, culture matters, tradition matters. The fashion industry has so many problems. I want my work and my garments to solve these problems by working with local artisans in Ghana to be able to repurpose and redesign and reuse some of the fabrics that we have locally to create things that appeal to everyone globally. I feel like we have so much rich resources as Africans and our craftsmanship is unmatched. So I want to be able to play my little role by working with local artisans primarily to create new, unique designs through repurposing. These new practices are not only good for the fashion industry, but good for the world as a whole, and then also for business.
Papa incorporates sustainability into his work by repurposing materials, working with artisans, and using design to celebrate diversity. Repurposing fabrics means he uses existing materials to create garments instead of a new material. So instead of those old fabrics going to the landfills, they're becoming beautiful new clothes. Did you know the equivalent of one garbage truck of textiles is landfilled or incinerated every second? These individual stories are just a part of the fabric that makes up the work Generation F is doing to create a more beautiful, sustainable, and fashionable world.
I really believe in the power of the people. I really believe in the power of the consumer.
We realize we can use our voices, we can use our votes, and we can use our buying power. And that is a really big part of expressing what we want to change in the fashion industry.
My generation is super idealistic, just like every former generation. But the difference is we have to act because we're at a tipping point. The world is literally burning down. We're in a plague. We don't have a choice. We've already gone too far with climate change and we need to take action or we're not going to have a planet to live on.
I know it seems daunting. In fact, it may seem impossibly overwhelming. But the future of fashion is here and now. And Generation F is more than up to the challenge.
Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me?
You too are the future of the fashion industry. Each episode will include specific calls to action so you can become a change maker and an advocate for future generations. For this episode, we want you to ask, who made my clothes? Ask yourself, ask the companies who make your clothing. If you work for a fashion brand, know who makes your products and share that information publicly. A great resource for this comes from our friends at Fashion Revolution. Find out more on our website, genfseries.com.
We need everyone to work together. We need systemic change. We need people who are good at science, people who are good at business, people who are good at manufacturing to come together and make solutions.